Audrey Jackson.
I'm Greg Jackson.
On February 19th at 4 a.m., a gun was used to take my son from me. You know him as Pop Smoke. We call him Shar. Because of gun violence, I'll never see my son run up the front of our steps, taking them two at a time. He won't ever take my hands again and dance with me. He won't come into my room and muscle pose in the mirror. Gun violence destroys families. It must stop.
another chance to start afresh again.
27 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Good morning to you, Grenada, Carrier, Cupidi, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, the rest of the world. It's Good Morning Grenada for today, Tuesday, the 11th day of June in the year 2024. How are you doing this morning? Hope all you're doing fine, yeah?
Oh, merciful Father, oh, please hear my prayer. Oh, Father,
That's my cry.
thank you for the sacrifice. Oh, merciful Father, oh yes, I'm still alive. Play the music. Oh, Masha, oh, Masha.
Hear my cry. Oh, merciful Father.
Hear my prayer.
Mary Ebanks, good morning also to you. Sharon Bartholomew says good morning, you all the way from Northern Virginia. Happy Tuesday, Sharon.
With so much
You're a joker. Come in Grenada and come in GB. What happened to you?
powers to turn this.
Should have come and co-host with me a morning.
There is no need.
Catherine Phillips says good morning, Grenada. Good morning, and I said good morning, Catherine.
You are my savior, and I put my trust in you.
Reaching out and say good morning to Joseph Francis.
Thank you for the breath.
Out there in the diaspora, I don't know if you're in the US or if you're in Tortola at the moment. Yolan Swan says good morning to you, Mr. Joseph. God blessings upon you. Good morning to everyone on the program. Thank you, Yolan, and the same to you, all right? Yulan Alexander, good morning. How do you do?
Oh, Masha.
Blessings for a terrific Tuesday, she says. Yulan, you good? Nice.
Play it one more time.
Well, no, Yulan, you're here, right?
I will
Edson Mitchell Ajamo in the background.
from whence cometh my help.
I think this is fitting.
Help come from the Lord.
25 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Kitty Cat, Ariel, and Alwyn, good morning.
Neither can
How do you do?
the minute or the hour.
Good morning to the management and staff at Six Senses. Last Jess.
I'll try to do my best.
Thomas and Beatrice and everybody, good morning.
You'll take care of the rest. Yes, Lord.
Nat McQueen, good morning, Mr. Innocent. How are you? I am doing fine. I hope you are eating healthy. I hear you talk about your blood pressure. Stay blessed. Yeah, boy, you have no control now, eh? Dr. Noel is a good doctor. You know that's the best thing in the world.
Oh,
So he has me under control now.
Live my life for you.
Yeah, and I'm watching my diet too.
Oh, my
I'm on a seafood diet. Anything I see, I eat. Mildred Smith, good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing fine, right? All those of you out there in the diaspora, good morning. Today I'll be joined by ACP Vannie Curwen as we talk on the decriminalization on of marijuana.
but strive to walk the walk.
Yeah, a lot of things have been happening behind the scenes, right?
Let me live by example.
Yeah.
Oh, merciful Father.
Birch Grove, good morning.
Soul.
Auntie, how do you do? You good? You and Stella?
Thank you for my family.
Zeggy, good morning, all the way in Monlong.
All your birds.
Snake and family.
Oh, Father. I don't know just
The John family. As a matter of fact, good morning to Monlong, yeah?
take my heart, save my soul.
Ah,
Oh, my child.
I will rejoice despite what, you know? Can't stop my rejoicing. One day, one day.
Hear my pride.
Nice. Oh, yeah, jam with that song finished fast, boy. Well, I like it, you know. Yeah. But nonetheless, folks, it's 23 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Good morning, Zai. How you do? You alright? Mary say we had to go up in Clabony and cook a cow head again. Mary, good morning. All the wonderful folks inside of Harford Village, good morning. Yeah, how do you do? Everybody fine? Crazy, good morning. The folks in Balthazar, Canblaya, good morning. Yeah. Puntans, good morning. Rodney and family. Yeah. The officers, good morning. Ron Papi, good morning. Mike Noel and family. Godric Pierre, Father Godric Pierre and family, good morning. How do you do, everybody? All right, I hope. Nonetheless, let's get with the program. The word of the day today, it is the verb. It is a doing word. It's an action word. That word is foment. Foment, F-O-M-E-N-T. Do not mix it up with ferment. All right, it's foment. And to foment something such as hostility or opposition is to cause it or try to cause it to grow or develop. Foment is used synonymously with incite. Yeah. Whenever you hear the word incite, Donald Trump comes to mind, right? He incited January 6th. That real kind of fella, you know. Nonetheless, dance a yard before you dance abroad, alright? You had to fix what I have here first before I could talk about outside. Here's how we can use the word in a sentence. Rumors that the will was a fake, fomented distrust between two families. Rumors that the will was a fake. Alright? It sort of caused, it developed, it grew distrust between the two families. Good morning to all the property surveyors, Not Nice and Dante and the entire team. Eggies, good morning, how you do? The folks in the Seawet. Morning. Morning to the folks inside of Pomrose and Mount Agnes and surrounding areas, Latant. Yeah. Bellevue, good morning. Honorable Adrian Persuader Thomas, good morning to you and the family. Teacher Reggie next door, good morning. Hope all you're doing fine. Tayo across the road, good morning. The folks inside of Rucane, good morning. Moya. Yeah, how could I forget Moya and Pearls, my hometown. Dunfermline, Miss Lyra, Ann, Catherine, all these people, good morning. Nonetheless, I've got to come back home and say good morning to Munich and Mama Can and surrounding areas, and go down to Cafe and say good morning to Nadisha and Louie and Papa Jerry and Miss Holmes, and you know, these are the people that really sit in front of the TV or the radio and wait. You know what I'm saying? So the thought of the day today, Nadisha, it is, if it is important to you, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. By any means necessary. That's all it's saying. If it's important to you, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. If it is important to you, you will find a way to reinstate the relationship, you know, beg for mercy and all this kind of thing, and you understand what I'm saying? However, if it's not important to you, you'll just say, well, it didn't work. You understand? Fight for what you want. You understand? 19 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Janelle McDonald, I know you're laughing, right? Yeah, you're laughing away. Oh my goodness. Lovey, good morning to you. Nice. Apritute, good morning. Good. The folks inside of Sates. Robert White, good morning, bro. We have to touch base, yeah? Good morning. Mali, Celis, Coconut Row, Davy, Mount Craven. Yeah. Isaac and Keisha, good morning. The folks inside of Bathway. Let's see what's buzzing this morning. I want to say good morning to Gary, Mr. Smooth Roberts, and the family, man. How are you doing? Hope you all doing fine, right? Yeah, give wifey a nice hug for me, right? Nice. So 12 Grenadian students on the Western Illinois University Spring 2024 Dean's List. Yeah, Grenadians well showing up, eh? Anyway, you know, you open a tin of sardines, you go find a Grenadian starring there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how we are. In the region, UNICEF pleads for assistance as Haiti braces for the hurricane season. Oh my goodness. I wish the hurricane season could have just overlooked Haiti, bypass Haiti. There's too much going on there already. Oh, gum. The infrastructure is in a deplorable state. The economy is worse. And then we are going to compound that with the hurricane season. Nonetheless, and this is an interesting one. This one is scary to me because it is said internationally, a woman in Indonesia, she was found, she was missing. She was reported missing, and the following day, the folks in the neighborhood went around searching for her, and they saw a python, a 16-foot python. And they find the belly was swollen, you know, and so forth. When they caught the snake, the woman inside it dead. That make him afraid to go buy my pigs, boy. Oh gosh, I'm afraid snakes. I know my father loves them. Good morning, Joe. Miss Annie, good morning to all of you. Yeah, I need to pay a visit and I'll do that soon. All right, everybody. In sports, Vinicius welcomes jail. I hope I pronounce Vinicius, yes. Vinicius. Vinicius welcomes a jail sentence for racially abusive fans. That happened in Spain. Yeah, some Real Madrid fans made some racial slurs and they were prosecuted for it. So those are some of the stories that are buzzing this morning, but nonetheless, folks, at this time we've got to go. We've got the AM edition of News, Sports and the Weather, and I'm trying to keep it within the 7 o'clock range, you know. Jillian McIntyre, good morning. Lydia Cameron, Anissa Reese, Yulin, yeah, Gordon, lots of rain in the countryside this morning. You're glad? Yeah, well, the farmers up there would be happy. Innocent, I was waiting for you to one day call Harford Village name. Well, duh. I know every village in Grenada. I can boast of that. Hermione, good morning to you. Ron Bartholomew, good morning. Michelle Bernard, good morning. Folks, this is where we take the break. We've got the AM edition of News, Sports and the Weather. And good morning, Dr. Noel from Balloon in London. And Balloon also wants to say good morning to DJ Vika, DJ Small Clothes, and DJ Hot Wax. Good morning, Mr. Wayne. Mary Bowen, good morning, Innocent. Please say good morning to Miss Jeremiah. Miss Jeremiah, I said that already, but good morning, Miss Jeremiah. Sylvina Childs, good morning, folks. We've got to go. We've got to do the news. See you on the flip side of 7. Like I said, I will be having ACP Vannie Curwen with me this morning, my good friend.
for joining us. A former parliamentary secretary now faces a 90-day deadline to repay over $150,000 to Grenada's treasury. Beverly Telesford has details in this report.
Former Parliamentary Secretary Sheldon Scott has been given a 90-day deadline by the government to reimburse over $150,000 to the Treasury of Grenada. This sum is owed in reimbursement for his use of a mobile phone beyond the period of authorization. Scott was issued the phone when he served as Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Ecclesiastic Affairs. He left office in 2016 but continued to use the phone until 2019, during which time government paid the service provider. Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs Claudia Joseph announced a 90-day deadline during a press conference on Monday, calling for a quick response from Scott.
Yesterday, Mr. Scott was served with a pre-action protocol, meaning a letter before action issued out of the office of the Attorney General, in which demand was made for full payment of the said sum within 90 days. And Mr. Scott is to respond to the Office of the Attorney General within 7 days to indicate his agreement to repay the full sum in 90 days. Failing which, i.e., if we do not get a response from Mr. Scott in 7 days indicating his agreement to repay the full sum, legal proceedings will be commenced against him.
Scott's usage of the phone, which came to public attention in 2019 when it was revealed that taxpayers were covering his phone bill, has now led to this repayment demand. Scott confirmed in 2019 that he had indeed been using the phone assigned to him since May 2013 and pledged to repay the expenses associated with the account since leaving office in 2016. The Attorney General stated that over $40,000 of the total amount owed is interest.
By then, the amount that had been paid by the government of Grenada on the said account for Mr. Sheldon Scott between 2016 and 2019, that's July 2016 and July 2019, was $115,393.33. The records at all relevant ministries show that no payment has been made to date, despite the undertaking given by Mr. Scott to repay. And as such, to date, the balance of $115,393.32 remains outstanding, together with accumulated interest of $41,544.30 for a total of $156,937.62.
Scott has been given a 7-day window to respond to government's demand to avoid potential legal proceedings.
The purpose of pre-action letters, pre-action protocols, is to allow the parties to arrive at settlement if necessary and thereby avoid engaging the court. So if Mr. Sheldon Scott has a counter proposal in terms of the payment arrangement, he can in fact communicate that with the Office of the Attorney General, and a conversation can ensue and we can determine what is acceptable on both sides in terms of a repayment plan.
Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
The Attorney General addressed legal matters surrounding a recent court case involving a former ambassador, revealing details of the ruling and the circumstances surrounding his recalled ambassadorship and diplomatic passport. More details in this report.
Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs Senator Claudia Joseph cleared the air on the recently concluded court case involving former Ambassador to Grenada, Oleg Ferrer, which saw him awarded the sum of $50,000 as damages. In this case, Ferrer sued Grenada for denying him entry into the country in February 2023, claiming to be a citizen of Grenada. Joseph said the court ruled that Ferrer is not a citizen of Grenada, as he had not acquired citizenship through the prescribed channels.
Court, in rendering its ruling, found that the government of Grenada had not breached any constitutional right that Mr. Oleg Fryer had in any respect. And further, the court found that he had not proved that he was a citizen of Grenada. Notwithstanding what appeared on his passport, the court found that he had not acquired Grenadian citizenship by any of the means allowed for in the Constitution at Section 94 or the Citizenship Act.
Minister Joseph said the former government recalled Ferrer's ambassadorship. However, he had not surrendered his diplomatic passport. High Court Judge Ralston L.A. Glasgow, who presided over the case, ruled that Mr. Ferrer's recall without being told of these allegations or being afforded the opportunity to be heard was unfair and unlawful.
He did not win the case. The case he brought against government, he lost on every single relief he sought. So he did not win the case. So that's a correction I would like to make, and very forcefully too. As I indicated, the court possesses a residual power to grant any other relief it considers appropriate, whether that relief was sought or not in the claim. And this is what happened in this case.
Government is considering appealing the court's ruling.
We at the Office of the Attorney General are not in agreement with the court on this one, and we are contemplating filing an appeal in relation to this matter, because what the law says is that in relation to diplomats, ambassadors, and so, they serve at pleasure and may be recalled at any time for any reason or no reason. And so we don't necessarily agree with the court in finding that the government breached procedural fairness at the time. And so we are looking at the judgment with a view to appealing that decision, because as you know, everyone, government is a continuum. And
reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Other news, the high-profile murder trial of Raheem Kelshal is drawing to a close as final addresses were made to the jury on Monday. Senior Crown Counsel Kristen Greenidge, who has been prosecuting the case, and attorney Jerry Edwin, who is defending Kelshal, presented their closing arguments after approximately 1 week of evidence presentation at the St. George's No. 1 High Court. Raheem Kelshal was 24 years old when he was arrested and charged in connection with the 2018 shooting death of Garfield Matthew of Belmont, St. George. The trial, presided over by Justice Sean Innocent, has seen the Crown call 8 witnesses to establish Kelshal's guilt of non-capital murder beyond a reasonable doubt in connection with Matthew's killing. In his defense, attorney Edwin challenged the prosecution's narrative and witness testimonies. He argued the impossibility of Kelshal's involvement, contending that his client was not present at the scene of the crime at the time of the shooting. Justice Innocent is expected to provide a summation of the case on Wednesday. His summation will review the evidence presented and the arguments made by the prosecution and defense. Following the summation, the jury will be tasked with deliberating on a verdict. Kelshal faces a maximum penalty of life imprisonment if found guilty of the murder charge. Well, opposition parliamentarian Peter David has made an impassioned plea for peace in response to a recent surge in violent crimes, which included 3 fatal shootings in May. The rest of the details in this report.
During a heartfelt speech at the funeral service for Vaughn Wangi Cyrus, who was shot and killed on May 12th, David called for collective action to restore peace.
Our collective lesson as a community is that we must come together to find a way to save our sons and daughters. including developing systems for mentorship and deepening our very sense of community. My brothers and sisters, I implore all of us together to restore peace.
The St. Paul's Anglican Church was filled with mourners last Friday as scores gathered to pay their final respects to 28-year-old Cyrus, who was buried at the Mount Airy Cemetery. 2 young men have been arrested and charged with non-capital murder in connection with the death of Cyrus, a charge which carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. David, a practicing attorney and a close friend of the Cyrus family, specifically directed his appeal to young men.
I especially address our young men today on this altar, in the presence of a grieving community, in the presence of the women and men who gave birth to you and struggled to raise you. Please, I implore you, cease the violence. For all it leaves in its wake are the tears of your mothers and your children. They have shed too many tears. Don't let them cry anymore. Please. Working class people's children must stop killing working class people's children.
The MP stressed that a unified approach is essential for creating a safer environment, not only for the current generation, but also for those to come.
We must rise from the depths of our circumstances and prevail against the odds. Being working class isn't criminal. Let's not paint it as such. Working class is a gateway to better. I speak of the working class today because they are my project and my platform in law and in politics. I am committed to showing our young people from hard-working families that they can rise above.
As the community mourned the loss of yet another young life, David's call to action serves as a poignant reminder of the urgent need for peace and unity in Grenada. Reporting for GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
The Grenada Bar Association has joined forces with key stakeholders throughout Grenada to address the alarming rise in gun-related violence. Rena Ped Thomas tells us about the new initiative launched today.
In response to the recent surge in gun violence, the Grenada Bar Association has joined forces with key stakeholders to launch the Grenada Peace Initiative Committee. This non-profit organization aims to reduce crime, focusing specifically on gun and gang violence through collaborative community efforts. The committee is led by a team of volunteer lawyers, trade unionists, and other influential members of society. These individuals bring their expertise and commitment to fostering a safer environment for all Grenadians. President of the Grenada Bar Association, Francis Paul, spoke about this new initiative.
First order of business was the formation of a GBA Peace Initiative Subcommittee, comprising mainly of lawyers involved in criminal defense work. Recognizing that many of those lawyers actually represent those accused of violence, including recently perceived gang-related gun violence. The second order of business was to reach out to key other national stakeholders to join the Peace Initiative.
The launch of the committee marks a significant step in addressing the issue of violence within communities. The Grenada Bar Association Peace Initiative seeks to implement comprehensive strategies that tackle the root causes of crime and promote peace. Key activities of the GBA Peace Initiative will include educational programs, community outreach, and support services for at-risk individuals. The organization will also advocate for stronger legal frameworks and policies to curb gun violence and enhance public safety.
Over the next few weeks, the GPIC will be producing and circulating posters and videos against violence, embarking on programs of public education, engaging schools and communities, visiting hotspots, communities, and engaging gang leaders as it begins the process of putting together a short and medium-term plan to curb the current upsurge in violence. All sensitive information obtained in discussions, particularly as it relates to the ongoing violence, will be held in strictest confidence by the GPIC unless agreed otherwise. To support us so that we can achieve the goal of having a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire.
Crime reduction specialist Niels Chaitan spoke of the 4 steps that the organization will take in tackling the issue of violence in Grenada.
Methodology we are following, all right? The first part of the rollout, of course, the launch, is the media part of it, where we let the public know, public awareness. The second part will be connecting, right? Where we go into the community and connect. But at that level, it will be connecting within a particular community, not fueling communities, not mediation as yet, right? So where we connect with the guys on the different blocks, one-on-one or as a group. The third level would be mediation though. So where we look at the significant people in different neighborhoods, bring them together and try to mediate. That's the third level. The fourth level, of course, is where we go into treatment, where we actually run programs that's going to help deal with the issues that we have found.
The Grenada Peace Initiative Committee is inviting all Grenadians to join in their efforts. They are encouraging widespread community involvement and support. Their mantra is working together. The organization can significantly reduce crime and create a more peaceful society. Rena P. Thomas, GBN News.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Grenada to laugh again. Heritage Theatre presents Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024, Saturday, June 22nd and Sunday, 23rd June at the Trade Center in Grandance, and on Sunday, 30th June at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime, 7 p.m. every time, featuring some of Grenada's best ambassadors of comedy. Robert White.
I will line up behind the yellow for 9 elections straight. I changed all any time to lose the last election. Why? Because I'm always on the losing side.
Dillion Walters.
And don't tell me all you didn't know.
Kareem Alexis and other outstanding comedic performances, all coming to knock you off your seats with laughter. Get your tickets now. Bring out the entire family. Tickets are $60. It's time for Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024.
The place go flood with laughter.
Get ready, Grenada, for the 18th annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Hubbard's Legends in Concert, as we raise our hands and give thanks. On Saturday, October 26, 2024, Thanksgiving weekend, Grenada Trade Center, 7:30 p.m. Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Stay tuned to GBN for more.
Many of us take our health and well-being seriously. We exercise, we eat right, we try hard. Sometimes we give up. But we can't give up on the health of land and the seas that sustain us. We must reduce the amount of plastic weight we generate individually. A person can generate up to 70 times their weight in waste. That's over 10,000 pounds of plastic over a lifetime. Now multiply that by the country's population. Without reuse, repurposing, or recycling, each OECS island will generate more than 1 billion pounds of plastic waste over a lifetime. This can't be our legacy. Separate plastic waste for transport to a facility that reuses, repurposes, or recycles.
Recycle OECS. Green actions, blue oceans.
Yard. Use a broom instead of a hose. Save water.
This awareness initiative is part of activities under the Climate Resilient Water sector in Grenada. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada.
The season with the biggest blowout sale from Sisson's Paints. Get 30% on Sisson's Text Coat, Berger Weatherproof, and Easy Clean paint, all sizes. Your Weather Warrior, paint to protect. Ensure your home is season ready and beautiful. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Head to the Color Shop or any Sisson's hardware partner nationwide and save 30% now. Shop now and get a free plastic float with every Sisson's Text Coat purchase and a free Paint Sensations paint with every 1 gallon purchase of Berger Weatherproof or Sisson's Easy Clean. Sale ends soon.
At Quartz Optical, 2 are better than 1. Be always ready for the occasions with a second pair of eyewear. Find your fit with a pair. Get 50% off on all men's frames and sunglasses, plus 30% off all other purchases. Ray-Ban, Armani, Converse, Vogue, and much more. Get that frame today. Shop with no cash and pay later. Plus, you can book your eye examination appointment online today on www.quartzoptical.com. Only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
From the fertile heart of Grenada to the far reaches of the globe, Ram's Supermarket brings together the best of both worlds. Savor the freshest, locally sourced produce from our trusted Grenadian farmers and explore a curated selection of top-quality international favorites. Experience a shopping journey where warmth meets a world of flavors and affordability meets premium quality. At Rams, we welcome everyone to discover the joy of global and local culinary delights. Nestled in Sugar Mill, Grand Anse, we are open all week to offer you a taste of home and beyond. Ram's Supermarket, where our family, community, and the world come together. We are the good food people.
Served Grenada for decades. We are the #1 and largest electrical supplier.
Hi, welcome to Sunny Electrical. How may I help?
We offer electrical wire and accessories, tools, and appliances for all residential, commercial, and industrial applications, which is what we are known for. And we expanded our products with new innovative ways to modernize your home. New homeowners will be captivated in our lighting showrooms.
Some more pendant lights here. These are very multifunctional because they can work for kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms.
We have a wide selection of lighting, ranging from indoor to outdoor and solar. We are also available for site visit services to assist you with selecting the perfect light for your forever home. We are located at Dusty Highway in Grand Anse, St. George. Sudden Electrical. Best value, expert advice, quality products. We hope to see you soon.
Miss Faithlin's family drama continues with I Do by Urias Peters at Labucan Creative Center, Saturdays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 6 p.m., June 8th to 30th.
Struggling to secure a business loan because of limited credit history or loan security? The Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee has the security you need. The Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee, ECPCGC, is a bridge to accessible financing for micro, small, and medium enterprises in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Backed by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank with funding from the World Bank. We work with financial institutions to help MSMEs get credit to stay in business, grow their business, or invest in green technologies. Our process is simple. Apply for a loan at your local lender. If collateral is in question, our partial credit guarantee is the answer. Once you meet the criteria, we pledge up to 80% of the collateral you're short of. Reach out to an ECPCGC participating lender or visit www.ecpcgc.org for more information. The Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee for MSMEs. Your business, your growth, our guarantee.
Are you looking for a reliable, affordable, and customer-friendly pharmacy?
Look no further than Hills and Valley Pharmacy, the nation's leading healthcare products and services provider. We are committed to serving you at convenient locations. Find an extensive and affordable selection of prescription and over-the-counter drugs and medical supplies at Church Street, Hillsborough, Carriacou, Jubilee Street, Grenville, St. Andrew, near the bus terminal, and Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George. Our committed team is always available to offer valuable assistance for managing your health and wellness. Discover the additional benefits of our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street and our Medcare Center on Grenville Street, where we provide in-house physiotherapy, massage therapy, doctor consultations, and eye care services. Our commitment is to satisfy all your healthcare needs, including competitive prices, loyalty rewards, and special discounts for seniors. Contact us at 435-6904 and WhatsApp 535-4734. Choose Hills and Valley Pharmacy. Remember, your health is our business.
The laundry, always do a full load, save water.
This awareness initiative is part of activities under the Climate Resilient Water sector in Grenada. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada.
Welcome viewers and listeners. This is the conversation this morning, and as I told you earlier, I am joined by a high-profile team this morning. You could feel the weight in the room, three big men in the room together, To my immediate right is Assistant Commissioner of Police Vannie Curwen, and to his immediate right is none other than Attorney Anselm Clouden. They're part of the Cannabis Working Committee, so they're here this morning to let us know what has transpired thus far and where they're going next and so forth. So, gentlemen, good morning.
Morning.
All right, lovely. How's the weather treating you all?
Well, should I let ACP go first?
I am thankful for the rain.
Yeah.
At least I can get some water in the pipe.
Yeah, definitely.
So am I.
All right, good. Well, yeah, you're a farmer too, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm a farmer, so it has come like a joyous day.
Yeah. Colin, have you been up to his farm where he has all the beautiful flowers?
No, he has not yet invited me.
Okay.
You're welcome anytime.
Okay. But this morning we're here to talk of a different flower, the cannabis. And it's indeed a flower in the eyes of many people. And so said, it is known that there has been a committee that has been put in place to look at the decriminalization of cannabis. All right, and I have to mark that word strongly, not legalization, but decriminalization, because there is a marked difference between the two. And Attorney?
Well, yes, in the first instance, we have made certain recommendations. The prior or previous commission that was established some years or so ago. ACP Curwen was also a member of that commission. And we had, after serious deliberations, we had made certain recommendations with respect to the first phase amending the Principal Act, the Drug Prevention and Control Act. And we had recommended certain areas of the Act be amended. We pretty much have overcome that because the draft is before the Attorney General and other appropriate persons.
Okay.
Now we are deliberating on getting the amendment in place by June or July. And then we move on to the bigger picture of legalization for medicinal purposes in the first instance, industrial, religious, and recreational.
Okay.
Good.
You're correct. There is a marked difference between decriminalization and legalization. Decriminalization speaks to the legislatures removing certain sanctions, while legalization speaks about removing all of the impediments, all of the prohibitions. So free for all. Yes. Yeah. At this stage, however, we are concentrating on decriminalization. At some stage, I am sure that government, in its wisdom, may move to legalization. That's a call they would have to make. But at this stage, the process is decriminalization for small quantity for medicinal and personal use.
Okay. Ever so often, in my capacity here as host of the program, whenever this topic is brought up, we get a sort of mixed reactions. There are some people who are of the opinion that decriminalizing, and most of the times they don't even understand the difference between decriminalizing and legalizing. But there's this pushback. There's this feeling that with marijuana being easier to transport and use and so forth, it puts the country in a state where it could have serious health implications. Some are saying that it would increase the violence and crime and so forth. What sort of responses have you all been getting from your engagements throughout the communities?
I defer to.
Well, we have had our first public engagement last week Monday. Okay. And today is our second public engagement by way of public education. And we have had mixed feelings. There are people who blatantly would want to see government go that route. There are those who welcome government going that route. At the end of the day, our task is to gather the necessary information and advise government. We don't make the final decision. We put it in the lap of the cabinet. The cabinet will have to decide. We have also had both medical and scientific position on the use or misuse of cannabis, the do's and don'ts about it, and those are issues that government will have to take on board. And that's the purpose why we are set up, to gather the data and present and provide all of the data to cabinet and have cabinet make a decision based on the data that we provide and based on their own thinking as to where they want to see Grenada go, having regard to what is happening around us and internationally.
Okay. From a legal perspective, Counsel, what are some of the pushbacks? What are some of the setbacks that, from your profession, you find?
Well, the pushbacks. Let me say this. There has been a reluctance on the part of law enforcement to exercise a level of tolerance so as to allow the use of very minute quantity for recreational and personal use. Let me take you. So you have people saying, well, consumption of cannabis may result in certain neurological problems for young people. And that is so. The evidence bears out that, look, when the brain is developing between the ages of 10 to 18, cannabis should be prohibited. And this is precisely what we propose in the last legislation, the objective of a legislative framework to, as it were, regulate the consumption of cannabis. It is really to prevent young persons from accessing cannabis, and to protect public health and public safety by establishing strict product safety and product quality requirements, and to deter criminal activity by imposing serious criminal penalties for those operating outside the legal framework. So the legal framework contemplates one, decriminalization of sections 6 of the principal ordinance. That would facilitate a person to have in his possession some 66 grams we had recommended. I think we have brought it down to 30 or thereabout for personal use. Because, you see, the act itself is discriminatory. Look at what happened in St. Kitts some time ago. A judge of the High Court ruled in St. Kitts that Rastafarians have a right to use marijuana and to smoke in their private homes. That was premised on, and this is St. Kitts Nevis, this is since 2018. The High Court judge said not only is it legal, but in some instances unconstitutional and an invasion of privacy to prohibit the use of marijuana for recreational purposes or religious purposes. So much so, Antigua has gone way ahead and have established a legislative framework where Rastafarians can use marijuana for sacramental and religious purposes. And they have enshrined that in the legislation. And they can plant an unlimited amount in the tabernacle surroundings and use it for sacramental dispensaries. That's Antigua. Now, St. Vincent has taken a different approach, and they have established a medicinal cannabis industry. And their emphasis is on medicine. The medicinal benefits from marijuana has been articulated by Dr. Thompson and our CMO here, Dr. Charles, at our last panel discussion. So that there's enough scientific evidence there that can act as a yardstick in determining how much and who can consume and where it could be consumed. For example, we have a difficulty because although my friend Chief Law Enforcement here, ACP Curwen, may say, look, we need to enforce the law, and very much so. And the law ought to be enforced against those who violate the prescribed authorization for quantity use. The law would always be enforced. So those who work outside of the legal framework will be punished. And the law is designed, and enough emphasis could not be put on it, to protect young people from consuming cannabis. There would be a complete prohibition in the recommended recommendations.
And we're looking at an age up to 18.
Well, we in the committee, we have decided that 21 may be the acceptable age.
Okay.
But generally, in terms of the countries, Canada, Germany, and the like,
Switzerland,
it's 18. There seemed to be an acceptance that 18 and over, it's a safe age for consumption. Below 18, it's worrisome and can result in certain neurological difficulties.
Okay, let me just interject here a bit. My concerns, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, firstly, I'm trying to get to the root of who made it illegal for marijuana to be used, cannabis to be used. And I'm asking that in the backdrop that, okay, if we are looking at things from a health perspective, cigarettes are dangerous. I wish they could ban cigarettes. All right? Alcohol, you look at the behavioral patterns of people when they exceed the limits that they can contain. We see what happens. So these, to my opinion, if marijuana or cannabis is to be treated the way it's being treated, why emphasis is not placed on this other? And I'm just looking at these two because these are readily accessible.
But you're perfectly right. On the cigarette package, it says clearly, smoking kills.
Yeah.
And we know that there have been a real strain on the medical system because a number of people who smoke come down with a variety of diseases, heart disease, cancer.
But if I may, there is a difference in the two. While smoking kills, in this case of cigarette, there are studies that have shown that the use of marijuana does lend itself to certain psychosis behavior. So there are certain international organizations that classified cannabis as being dangerous because of some of the properties that is in it, THC and others. But what has been identified or noticed is that as the years rolled on, it is determined that there are other benefits other than smoking that cannabis has. There are a number of studies that shows how it can be used medicinally to as Dr. Charles said, not to cure certain ailments, but to ease the pain and suffering of people.
I'm a beneficiary
who have issues. So there is a difference in the two. And I want to say to the public that the proposal that we have put or we will be putting forward to government is that there should be an age of 21. Now, one may ask, why 21? We have had the benefit of Dr. Charles, we have had the benefit of Mr. Hector. Those are both medical and both medical and scientific position on those issues. And they have indicated that the brain has not totally developed until 25. Why 21? We look at what happens in the region and we have to propose, we have to make a proposal. So in our deliberation, we have agreed that we're going to propose to government that the age of 21 should be used and that the quantity for small possession that can be possessed is that of 30 grams. Now again, why 30 grams? In the region, we have a demarcation between 15 grams and 56 grams. That's what we see across the islands, St. Vincent, Antigua, and elsewhere. And so there was a proposal for the lower amount and there was a proposal for the upper or higher amount. So we find a medium ground, not wanting to be the trendsetter here to say let's go beyond the 15. And so that is the determination that the committee makes. But those are not binding. At the end of the day, Cabinet will have to ultimately determine and decide what quantity they would decriminalize and what age group they would be influenced to allow to use that. They may stay with 21, they may go to 25, they may come to 18, we don't know. Our duty is to propose based on the literature and the data that we are seeing, and Cabinet ultimately will determine in the legislation what the law is going to be. So that is our work really.
All right, as it relates to, well, you sort of answered my question already, but in terms of grams, I don't know how marijuana or cannabis is weighed, what quantity weighs a certain. So let's look at what we commonly call a joint. How does 30 grams match up to a regular joint?
That may equal to about 4 or 5 cigarettes.
Okay, all right. Well, okay.
But we have to look at this whole industry holistically. It's an economic. The cultivation of cannabis for medicinal purposes, it would bring economic development to Grenada, as it has to St. Vincent. As a matter of fact, you well know that there is a drain on our revenue base here because we import thousands and thousands of pounds of dried cannabis from St. Vincent. That's well known. St. Vincent predominantly satisfies our demand here. And a number of our folks have been imprisoned, have lost their lives trying to satisfy the demand on the market. Just let me give you a bird's eye view of what the situation is in some of countries. It is said that in Canada, by 2025, they would net $9.2 billion in revenue. You go to Germany, $5.8 billion in revenue. The United Kingdom, $2.8 billion in revenue. And it goes on and on. St. Vincent, we don't have the statistics, but they ship medicinal cannabis to Europe and to the European Union. So that we must also give due consideration to the fact that if we get this industry going, then it would create jobs for our young people, because you have them in the areas of production. You have producers, cultivators, and what is more, if we follow the example of St. Vincent, where in granting license to produce, you can have a condition for a license that you plant agricultural crops, cabbage, tomatoes, lettuce, and the like. That too would increase our food security and create a more unique agricultural product. Generally, cannabis integrated by cultivation of vegetables.
Okay, good. Now, usually when we talk when we have this sort of conversations, anything that will impact on the island, the country in a whole, we look at the socio and the economic side of it. We've just looked at the economic side of it, what you've pushed for. As it relates to the socio part of it, the social impact, what would be the social impact of this?
And that's a very interesting question, because we cannot talk about decriminalization without looking holistically as to how it's going to impact Grenada. There will be impact for law enforcement. There will be impact for our social structure, because I'm going to tell you this. We have been responding to quite a lot of calls for service among young people. And there seems to, and I'm saying seems to, I'm not the expert on it, but the literature kind of suggests that there seems to be a correlation between some of the deviant behaviors that we are seeing that is associated with the use of marijuana. Now, if that continues and decriminalization happens, there likely will be a greater call for service, impacting the resources of the RGPF. There will also be concerns for the health sector. What structure can we put in place should there be that fallout? So we're talking about law enforcement, we're talking social services, we're talking possibly the psychiatric unit and other sectors of government. So there has to be a holistic approach. There must be a holistic approach as to how we deal with the issue, what the fallouts are likely to be, and what can government do to build infrastructure that can mitigate against what is likely to happen. I am no expert in that field. I can only speak about my experiences and what I'm seeing and hearing, but we have to look at the example of other countries, see what happens, see what social structures they had to build or strengthen to be able to allow them to go the route that they have gone. So it's not a process in isolation. Grenada is not doing this because Grenada feels it needs to do this. Grenada needs to do this looking at who have gone before, what issues they have faced, what mitigation they have had to employ, and what social, legal, and other framework need to be strengthened to accommodate this process.
From a legal standpoint, attorney, the court system, ever so often it's very congested. Courts cases have to be adjourned and so forth. What level of impact does the cannabis industry have on the court system?
Well, it has a tremendous impact on the system, because the draconian provisions of the Drug Prevention and Control Act mandates very severe penalties for possession of minute quantities. One marijuana cigarette can land you in jail and can land you paying a fine of $1,500 and more. And what is worse, it impedes the growth of our young persons. In the context that you're being administered a criminal record. And the criminal record doesn't say for a minute possession of cannabis. It says possession of a narcotic, possession of drugs. Okay? And that brings your career to an end. Let me give you a simple example of what has happened, a practical example. This police officer, Calvin Evelyn, PC 216. He's on patrol in the St. Andrews area. He sees a young man carrying his bag on his shoulder. He says he finds a young man looks suspicious. And as a consequence, he approaches him. He gets out the transport and approaches the young man. He tells the young man that he finds he looks suspicious, and as such, he wants to conduct a search. Now, all of that is illegal up until then, because he has no reasonable and probable grounds to apprehend him. He has no warrant, so it's a distinct invasion of his privacy. However, in conducting the search, a young man admitted to him that he has scissors and he has a quantity of marijuana for his personal use. He apprehends him, takes him down to the station, and he ultimately charges him. But listen to this. He had on his possession marijuana to the value of $602. And he was 20 years old. I won't call his name. A sales clerk at Dunfermline St. Andrews. Naturally, he pleaded guilty because it's sprung on him. There's no defense. He admitted he has been saddled with a criminal record. One had to literally go on bending knees and beg the magistrate not to record a conviction, because that would blow his career, his future. But she administered a fine of $1,200. He had to pay it forthwith. Now, a young man, he's 20 years old, having to pay a fine, and he's a scholarly fellow. He's a sales clerk. He's doing accounting and the like. I represented him, fortunately. I avoided a conviction in this case, but there are thousands of cases where the magistrate would normally say the law is the law, I have to enforce the law. And in many instances, a conviction is being recorded. It is in that context we have recommended decriminalizing sections 6 of the principal ordinance so as to avoid our young people being saddled with criminal record for the consumption of small quantities of cannabis, because they're all consuming. I mean,
now when your findings are presented to cabinet and they do decide, okay, we'll go along with the decriminalization, and they put their limits and so forth, the folks prior to this act, will their criminal records for convictions be expunged?
That is one of the recommendations that the committee will be making to cabinet. If you're decriminalizing, you need to go back and erase the conviction of those who have been convicted for the substance before. So that will be presented to cabinet as well for their consideration.
Okay. I do have a caller on the line. Let's take this caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Hi, good morning to you, Innocent, and to your team there. Hats off to you, Inspector Curwen. I'm very concerned because I'm hearing a lot of contradictions and a lot of bias, especially coming from the chairperson of that committee. It was told to us that this was going to be done, the decriminalization and so was for medicinal. The emphasis is not this. We're hearing about recreational use. We're hearing a lot of loose figures about billions coming from Canada. How does that compare with Canada's export of wheat, food? We are importing food from St. Vincent, but we're not even feeding ourselves. And that case that was just raised there, this young man, can $600 worth of ganja be categorized for personal use? Suppose it was $6,000 that was found in him. Was it just for himself? It doesn't make you feel like probably it was going to be either sold or shared with many others. And that's the problem I have. We have these defense attorneys who actually benefit from going to court, defending these young people. We're not getting any statistics on the cost to our health system. We're not getting those figures. And I am very worried that there are too many inconsistencies. We're either talking about decriminalization or we're talking about legalization. We're either talking about medicinal use or recreational use. I have a feeling, from what I'm picking up, the bias is toward the latter in both cases. We want to decriminalize it. We want to make it available for recreational use. Now, in terms of the social impact, if we legalize it for personal use, now we have an increase now, a growing trend towards public housing. My neighbor below me, or the house, the apartment ahead of me, decides to smoke, and I have 5 young children. How can I be protected from that person who's smoking? 2 of them are smokers in my apartment. What does it do to my kids? I think there's a lot more to be done, and that committee we have here now has to be disbanded, and a serious approach made to studying those things using data, and not just a bias towards running towards this thing, having it decriminalized for recreational use. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Response?
I heard the caller, but I do believe that we have the expertise on the committee that can bring the scientific and medical position, as well as the law enforcement and legal position. Mr. Clown is only one member of the committee. I am on the committee representing the RGPF, and I have put forward the concerns of the RGPF, and I've been doing that. We have Dr. Sean Charles, who is on the committee, and he has been putting forward the medical position and what the data is saying. We have Mr. Hector, who is on the committee, who is a mental health specialist, and he too has been putting forward what the mental health position is. So at the end of the day, this is not our decision. We are researching, gathering the data, having public consultation, and I'm happy that the caller called, because this is the purpose why we are here, to give the public an opportunity to weigh in on where we're going, what we're doing, what their opinion is, so that they can help shape the narrative and guide the discussion and where we need to go. So these are healthy discussions that we're having.
On that note, we have another caller. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, man.
Welcome to the program.
Yes, I have a question. I observed that the gentleman from St. Vincent, who was on the program, TV program the other night, and I also went online and researched it and looked at it. I noticed that St. Vincent, who is sort of ahead of us in this process, they, for some reason, did not legalize or decriminalize the recreational use of marijuana. They went with the medicinal and the religious, etc., but they have not made recreational use legal, or they haven't decriminalized. I'm just curious why, and whether the gentleman could have a comment, could just comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Well, I think, remember, there's international prohibition by way of certain international instruments, statutes at the United Nations, where, in fact, it is difficult to circumvent these provisions if you emphasize recreational use only. Germany was successful in doing so because of the way they introduced the decriminalized aspect, and then they went on to legalization. That's a legal difficulty that countries have to overcome, because we are all signatories to that convention. I shan't go into the nitty-gritty of how you overcome it, but I can speak authoritatively that Germany has overcome it by using a certain methodology, both with respect to recreational cannabis and also with respect to medicinal cannabis, which they're quite heavily engaged in. But let me point out why they had to implement a certain methodology to overcome the international requirement in accordance with the UN statute itself. Now, when Germany decriminalized, they had certain empirical data to work with, and they said that it was as a result of over 4.5 million Germans using cannabis recreationally. So they had to come up with an innovative approach so as to circumvent the stringency of those statutes. It's rather interesting to note that the United States of America just recently, a few weeks ago, removed cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug, which indeed would facilitate recreational consumption, because many states of the Union have since decriminalized in some instances, legalized in others, and as a consequence, they had to remove the Schedule 1 imposition as a narcotic and put it under the Food and Drug Administration as a Schedule 3 drug. Okay. So this is where the international community is moving. Canada has successfully overcome that difficulty.
Okay. All right. Tell you what, this is a committee in motion, and there will be many other media engagements. However, due to time constraints on the participants here, the representatives from the committee here this morning, we have to end the program here. So I'm going to give each gentleman 30 seconds to state a wrapping up comment.
What I do want to say in closing is that, as you indicated, this is a work in progress, and we are having these public consultation, public education, so that the public can get involved. So I'm happy for the callers who have called. We will be going around the island and doing some sensitization. All of what is being said will be taken on board. This is not just 6 or 7 persons determining what they want cabinet to consider. This is 6 or 7 persons spearheading an effort to get the population involved in the discussion. We will be taking what is said by the public on board as we make our final report to government, to cabinet, putting all of the concerns of the public to the cabinet for their consideration. So the more voices that can be heard is better. There are a lot of concerns. There are legal concerns. There are social concerns. There are concerns in other stratas, and we want to hear those concerns. At the end of the day, we're going to put all of these concerns together and say to cabinet, this is how the Grenadian population feels about the criminalization of small quantity of cannabis for medicinal purposes.
Well, I concur with ACP Curwen. Save and accept to say the recommendation, I have no doubt, would include the wholesale consumption of medicinal cannabis for persons who are seriously ill and who need, there could be no therapy, alternative therapy available, save and except the use of medicinal cannabis. So that in that regard, we can't decriminalize and continue to import. We also have to speak of cultivation. So the proposed amendment to the Drug Prevention and Control Act, Section 11, that deals with cultivation, there is the proposition that you can plant 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 trees, as the case may be, to be used medicinally on the one hand and also recreationally, or else we'd continually have to import cannabis into Grenada.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And like I said, you know the GBN is always home to you whenever we need to re-engage. We will do that. As a matter of fact, I think we need to have a lot more of these conversations so that we will take off some of the myths and the misconceptions and straighten the thought patterns of our populace in the end, so that we can have the right outcome. Folks, we take a quick break. We have to thank Attorney Clouden and ACP Vannie Curwen for being here with us this morning. We take a quick break. When we come back, we have the promotion from Real Value IGA. We'll be back after this.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of. Well, focus.
Lovely cricket, as we bring you ball-by-ball commentaries of the T20 World Cup. The Cut and Drive Network, in association with this radio station, are pleased to be a part of the excitement. Join me, Andrew Mason, as I lead a team of top-class cricket commentators right through to the finals on June the 29th at the historic Kensington Oval. Cricket, lovely cricket, on this radio station. You got a date, so don't be late.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of. Well, focus.
Coming up, it's a summer of style as top designers and their creations hit the catwalk with a Caribbean twist. The World Cup has rolled into town with on-field excitement and beyond-the-boundary thrills in Trinidad and Tobago. Getting married? Honeymooning? Barbados is your top option for an eventful experience. It's Caribbean Passport, right here on this station.
I want to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
filter, ha? Kami tali filter. Ozzy!
I am Audrey Jackson.
I'm Greg Jackson.
On February 19th at 4 a.m., a gun was used to take my son from me. You know him as Pop Smoke. We call him Shar. Because of gun violence, I'll never see my son run up the front of our steps, taking them two at a time. He won't ever take my hands again and dance with me. He won't come into my room and muscle pose in the mirror. Gun violence destroys families. It must stop.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners. It's 6 minutes away from 8 o'clock. And at this time, every week we give you a list of items that are specially discounted at Real Value IGA, your number one spot for the best deals. And this time, at this day, we will give you the list of items, and you can see them both on the television, and I will run them through with you. So this week we start with Betty Crocker's Delight, the Super Moist Carrot Cake Mix. It was $12.90. It's now $10.35. So you save a total of $2.55. We also have Wishbone Fat-Free Italian Dressing, the Fresh Grocer. It was $22.25. It's now $15.50. You save a total of $6.75. IGA Syrup Pancake and Waffle Original. It was $17. It's now $14.95. So you save a total of $2.05. Also, IGA Cherries Maraschino Plain. It was $16.75. You can now get it for $14. So you're saving $2.75. IGA Mix Pancake Complete. It was $14.50. It's now $12.25. You're saving $2.25. Also, Glad 70 square foot press and seal plastic food wrap. It was $22.50. It's now $19.05. So you're saving $3.45. Honey Bunches of Oats with Almonds. It was $28.75. It's now $19.15. You're saving $9.60. IGA Charcoal Briquettes. Now it was $34.75. It's now $27.46. So you're saving $7.29. And those are the items that you can get on special discounted prices at Real Value IGA. Head on down there today and be a part of that grand savings. So folks, tell you what, we've got just about 3 minutes left on the program. I know some of you have a lot to say this morning. You would have liked to get in on the conversation, but you did not get through. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to the program.
How are you?
I am alive and thankful. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm just calling just to clarify a little thing with Spice Mass Corporation and the police. And I think they have to work on that urgently. What happened? Let me tell you the experience I had. A couple of weeks ago, I applied to the police to have some permission to have a function by me. They said to me, okay, they're not the one responsible for getting permission in Spice Mass Corporation, so I have to go to Spice Mass Corporation. I went there, I filled out the application form, I paid $20 for the 2 forms, it will be non-refundable. And then they approve it, give me permission to have the function, which I paid $300, $150 for each form, so that's $320. Lo and behold, when I go back to the police scrutinize it, they look at it, they tell me, okay, they will get somebody to come and vet my place to see if my place is appropriate to have that function. I did so. After doing so, they approve it. They say the place is AI and ready to have the function. The function was supposed to be on the 8th and the 9th of June. On the 7th of June, I called the police because police will come and tell me whether I get approval or not. I called the police only to know that I'm approved for the 8th, and for the 9th, I'm not approved. And the 9th was supposed to be the juvie. So I asked them why I'm not approved for the 9th for the juvie. They tell me juvie is only supposed to be carnival Monday and Tuesday. I said, okay, I don't have a problem with that, but in case it's like that, why don't you notify the public that nobody is granted to have permission to have juvie? Only on carnival Monday and Tuesday it is authorized to have juvie. Instead of taking people money, Spice Man taking people money and giving the authorization to have juvie, and at the end of the day, police come and tell you cannot have juvie after they take your $150 already. So I just try to tell them, if they could come to some common understanding and educate the people more on that.
Okay.
You know, maybe I I find it too much of pressure, man.
Okay, thank you, caller. Thank you very much. It's 30 seconds away from 8 o'clock, and unfortunately, this is where we have to end the program this morning. And I know you have a lot to say. You would have liked to have more conversation with ACP Curwen and Anselm Clouden. Unfortunately, they both have other engagements. I would have given them the entire hour and open up the lines more, but nonetheless, we have to end the program here. So thank you very much, all those of you who contributed and participated, even if just by listening. Thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. And if we God permits, we'll do it again tomorrow. Bye-bye.